Small bets. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 327 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and I am back in my home, but with a very different time zone from what I used to record. And also, I'm quite jet lagged at the moment, so I'll try to keep as short as possible. But we still need to complete our usual couple of episodes of the weekend drop, the shorter, easier version of the Shower Podcast, where we unpack one idea you can actually use before Monday. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, remember the liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. They're just one click, but they really make the difference. Thank you very much for considering it. Yesterday, we talked about the explore-exploit trade-off, when to try something new and when to double down on what works. Today is the method that makes explorations safe and useful. A small bet is a low-stakes, reversible experiment designed to teach you something fast. Not a grand plan, not a total makeover, just a tiny test with a clear question behind it. If I try this for a short window, does it make the work easier, the habit stickier, or the result better? The power of small bets is that they reduce the cost of being wrong and increase the speed of being right. Instead of waiting for perfect certainty, you place a cheap chip on the table, learn, and either fold quietly or scale up with confidence. Think about how progress usually stalls. People wait for the ideal system before they begin, so the starting line keeps moving. Or they swing to the other extreme, overhaul everything at once, and burn out in a week. Small bets live in the middle. They keep the risk tiny and the learning big. You set a narrow time box, pick one tweak, and define what good enough evidence looks like. If the tweak helps, it graduates into your routine. If not, you haven't lost much more than a few minutes and a note of what to avoid next time. Momentum comes from the rhythm. Try, learn, keep or cut, not from pretending you can predict it all up front. So, here's how this feels in ordinary life. Say you want better focus. A small bet might be trying a 25-minute timer with a 2-minute stretch in between, just for one afternoon block, and checking whether you finish more than usual. If you do, keep it for a week. If not, no drama. Try a different cue tomorrow, like starting sessions by writing a 2-sentence outline before opening something else. Or consider movement. Again, anything that works for you. The important bit is that you have to consider them as probes. None of these are permanent. You're just gathering signal. To keep small bets honest, give each one a tiny rule of decision. Before you begin, define the line where you keep it and the line when you kill it. If a tweak saves 10 minutes twice this week, it stays. If it creates friction or confusion 3 days in a row, it goes. And that's it. No debating in the moment, no ego, no sunk cost story. The decision happened when you were clear-headed, not when you were tired or tempted to justify the experiment because you already started it. Small bets work because they separate identity from process. You're not the kind of person who does or doesn't do a thing. You're the kind of person who tests and then chooses. And there's a side effect people underestimate. Small wins compound. One tiny improvement in how you start, another in how you pause, another in how you finish. And suddenly, the same hour produces more with less strain. The routine feels lighter because pieces just click together. And you didn't upgrade your personality. You just improved the parts. And when something stops helping, you swap it without ceremony, because nothing in a small bet mindset is sacred. Tools serve goals, not the other way around. So, here's your usual weekend drop challenge. Pick one area for the coming week. Maybe mornings, maybe focus, maybe the way you wind down. Frame a single small bet you can run for 2 or 3 days. Make it tiny enough to start today and clear enough to judge it next time you check in. Then, set your keep or kill line in one sentence and leave yourself a breadcrumb for tomorrow. Note on the desk, file open on the screen, a cue you can miss. you know the drill. When the weekend ends, look at what happened and decide. If the bet helped, promote it. If it didn't, thank it for the data and let it go. That's the loop that keeps you moving without burning out. Explore with small bets, exploit what works, and review just enough to keep learning. That was all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Fortunately, my nose is still killing me, and my voice, I know it's not the best, but we do what we can. If you made it so far, thank you very much for listening. Feel free to interact with this content in any way, shape, or form you like. And, as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow.